Hey everybody, welcome. There we go. Hi everybody, welcome. I need an engineer. I need a audio visual engineer. Hey, we got a thumbs down already. I hate odd numbers. Can somebody hit thumbs down so we have two? Just so we have an even number. Somebody just hit it. I know you don't mean it. Just hit it so we have two, because odd numbers are just annoying. So put that up there.
We'll get more.
We hadn't even started there. I mean, I just hit the thing and it was already a thumbs down. So we got one person unhappy already. Hadn't done anything. Welcome everybody. Good to have you here on a Friday night for the Friday night live thing that we do. And Michelle Peruback's here. Good, we can function. Hey Beth, Martha. Oh, good. Good to see everybody. Oh, there. Now we have 6 thumbs down. All right. Now just leave it. Leave it right there. Leave it even number. Leave it right there at 6 thumbs down. Thank you. Oh man. Whatever. Stitchy Box, our sponsor. Friday night. Stitchy Box, our sponsor. $5 off a $25 order. Fiber Talk 5 is the code for that. You saw that on the screen. Fiber Talk 5 at fibertalk.stitchybox.com. Remember now, her Sarah Harris chart is available PDF download through April 30. And if you buy any samplers from Stitchy Box, be sure and put in your local shop information because she's sharing the profits from the samplers with the local shops. So be sure and do that and help that cause out. That's a really great thing. Now, the exciting thing about Stitchy Box is May is coming up, and apparently sometime in May is Liz's birthday. Liz owns Stitchy Box, so what she's doing is every day she's going to have a special. Every day, shop.stitchybox.com/pages/birthday-2020. I'll put it in the description. But anyway, every day there's going to be a special at Stitchy Box to celebrate her birthday. I don't know if it's her birthday, or the birthday of the business, but either way. So make a note somewhere to check every day and see what the special is. And she said that some of them will be when she runs out of it. It'll be good till she runs out of it. But check that out because every day through month of May, and then she's not going to have a special every Friday for us because she's running these specials all along. But she said she'd have a little extra gift or something for Fiber Talk people. So be sure and mention Fiber Talk when you do business with her. But make a note to check that out because somewhere along the month you might find something you like. That's a pretty neat idea. Drawing tonight is 2 Fiber Talk Needleminder combinations. So that's 2 1-inch and 1 2-inch. Try and keep that straight. 2 1-inch and 1 2-inch needleminders to 2 different people. So usual deal, Von@WeTalkFiber.com and quarantine and your name and address in the email body there, and that gets you in the drawing. So 2 of those packages going out to winners. And speaking of winners, we had winners from Wednesday night, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere there.
Yeah. Number 1 winner is Sandy Hartman. Sandy Hartman is the number 1 winner. Number 2 is Nanette McDougall Dykes. Nanette McDougall Dykes. And the 3rd winner is Katie Jananga. Katie Jananga.
All right. Congratulations. I want to say... No, I'm not going to say. I was going to say I think that Margo already mailed them, but I'm not going to say that because we're trying to minimize our trips outside the house. So things get all piled up on the dining room table, and then it's one big monstrous trip. So who was it? Oh, good. Donna, good. I'm glad you got your chart, your thing. Yep. I owe people the Linda Stoltz, Erica Michaels winners from the last 2 weeks. I owe you those. I have been busy putting together a magazine, so I will get those to Linda, and she'll get those out right away. So I apologize for that. Is Stitchy Box a shop? Yes. Yes. StitchyBox.com. Check her out. Check out those samplers. We need an official Fiber Talk cocktail for these happy hours. I don't even have beer tonight. I have vitamin water. I'm going healthy tonight. You healthy tonight, Vonna, or did you go full liquor? Mountain Dew. She went. She's full gas tonight. I need caffeine. Yep. um, so those who have Erica Michaels things coming from the last 2 times we did them, that's my fault. I'll get them taken care of sometime this weekend. And get your addresses in to get in the drawing for tonight. And we'll be back now. Tomorrow night is Quarantine Stitch Hour again, so we'll be back for that. And be sure and make a note, if you're at all interested in couching, to watch the video on Sunday. Now, the podcast Sunday, I'll do a little podcast, an audio one, so it goes into your app feed, because that's where the vast majority of people connect with us. But all that will be is to tell you to watch the video that we're putting up that I did with Natalie Dupuis on couching and couching techniques. And then remember that next Saturday it will be at 2 o'clock Eastern Time. 2 o'clock Eastern Time, we'll have Natalie on live so that you can ask her questions about couching. And gold work, couching, all of that world. So if you're at all interested, want to look into it, or are having trouble because you got a project and you're not making any progress, Natalie will be here to watch, to help you answer your questions, and then answer questions about couching history and so on and so forth. So excited to do that. But watch the video first, and then you'll have been through all of the things, and then you can ask questions. So please do that. And then we'll be back Monday and Wednesday, and then Arlene and I will be here Wednesday with the regular Fiber Talk podcast. And then now remember, on Mother's Day is our quarantine quarters. So it starts at noon Eastern Time, and there are 15-minute shows, 5 of them, at the top of each hour. And then Vaughn and I are going to race on Hannah Longstreth to see who can get the most stitches in for the 45 minutes. So 15 minutes of a show with prizes. And thanks to everybody. Several people have sent prizes in or are sending prizes. And really appreciate it. We're going to have a nice collection of prizes again. And so then we'll have a 15-minute show, and then Vaughn and I will stitch for 45 minutes. Then we'll have another 15-minute show. And there are still just a couple of sponsorship spots left, so if you're interested, get in touch with me. What else is going on there? Oh, you got to be eligible for the prizes. To be eligible for the drawings, you have to just go to WeTalkFiber.com. It's right there on the homepage, right at the top. Big, bold link, and you got to register your name so that we can do the drawings without having the issues that we had on Easter. Simplify it greatly. But you got to go there. Don't send email to Vonna. Please don't send email to Vonna. Several people have been doing that, sending emails with their name and address. Don't do that, because then she has to write back to you and say, don't do that. Go here to register, and then it becomes a thing. So just go register at WeTalkFiber.com/quarters, and then you'll have a Google form that you fill out. That's all you have to do, and then you're in. And you go on a spreadsheet, then on that spreadsheet gives you a number, and then we do the drawings. So real simple. So check that out. And please join us on Mother's Day and spread the word. I also put the link to the artwork for that. So if you want to share that with your groups or in your channel or your Facebook pages or whatever, we sure do appreciate it. Like to have a real nice crowd that afternoon. That'd be a lot of fun. So that's Mother's Day. Ellie and Katie are getting geared up to do the drawings and make the presentations. Our what do we call them? The award queens, or what did I call them?
Prize queens.
Prize queens. The prize queens. Yes. So that's coming up on Mother's Day, and believe it or not, that's just right around the corner, which is hard to believe. And Fiber Talk made me buy T-shirts. Check those out on the shop page at WeTalkFiber.com. And we're taking orders through May 15, and then we'll place that first order. So, Gary, I know you've told us umpteen times. I won't argue with that. Where is now? It popped up on my screen, but I'm way behind here.
It's Cat LaVie. Here, let me get it. I have them.
Oh, the address for the stretcher bars. Oh, you got. Okay.
Yeah, I got it.
There you go. MCGC123 at sbcglobal.net. MCGC123 at sbcglobal.net.
And Royal Garden, somebody asked earlier up the line, Royal Garden, you need 18-inch square stretcher bars.
Yes. Now,
and they don't have to be Adjust-A-Frame. You can just
No.
get regular old F.A. Edmonds stretcher bars.
Yep. Just go with just go with the standard here, and everything will come apart. Just go with standard stretcher bars. You don't have to do those, but I will recommend that if you do the stretcher bars, go to the hardware store and get these little metal angle pieces, little pieces of metal, and you just need to put in 2 screws. But if you use conventional stretcher bars, put them together, and then make sure they're square. Use a square, make sure they're square. Then put these little angle things on. That'll keep them from getting yanked out of square and getting your canvas out of square. So I highly recommend these. This is a Curdy Biggs trick. You just need to put in 2 screws, 1 on each side. See, I left these 2 empty. And you don't even need, I stupidly, I don't know why I did it. I put them in 4 corners. You only need to put in 2 corners. The other corners aren't going anywhere. So you only need to put in 2. So you can buy a package of, I think it comes as a package of 4, and use 2 for this and 2 for another frame. That'll keep this frame square and then keep your work square. So then when you put it on, put your canvas on the stretcher bars, then make sure that canvas is square, and then everything will stay square, and then your actual canvas will stay square, and you won't have to block it at the end, because that's the part that's all that to avoid blocking. And if it's square on there, then the stitches will stay square and everything works out. But the whole idea is to avoid blocking, so that when you get done, it doesn't have to get wetted and stretched for 2 weeks to get it square again. So do that. Now, if you get the Adjust-A-Frame, it's an 18-inch canvas for Royal Garden. I really suggest that you get a 17-inch. Do it how you want. The 18-inch it will fit. It will fit, but you will find that the tacks are going right along here, where if you get a 17-inch set of bars, then you'll find you put the tacks in the middle. And I think that's I think it fits on there better and stays, and the canvas is better supported, and it's just a stronger thing. So I suggest you get an inch smaller, but if you get an 18-inch canvas and 18-inch bars from Adjust-A-Frame, it will fit. It'll fit just fine. It'll work just fine if you want to do that. But I've just found that 1 inch smaller puts the edge of the canvas in the middle of the wood and just gives you a better setup. So, and then when you do put it, make sure you put a lot of tacks in. Keep them at least this close, if not closer. Put a lot of tacks in. That keeps, with any of your things you put on stretcher bars, that keeps it stable while you're working on it over time. Does much better. So, yeah. That's all I got on that. Probably more than people wanted to know.
Okay, so Minnie Perlman thinks we're fuzzy, but I'm looking at my laptop at us live, and we're not fuzzy. So, Millie, it's probably your internet speed, because we're not fuzzy.
Yeah.
Are you fuzzy on yours?
Nope. No.
Me either.
And haven't noticed any lag. Yeah.
And then Patricia Chris, go ahead, what?
Oh, go ahead. I mean, yeah, you're right. It probably is internet. You might try logging out and coming back is what might work for you.
Okay. And Patricia Chris, you send the quarantine ad. You still send the quarantine emails to me. We're talking about the Mother's Day sign-ups to be for prizes for the Mother's Day thing. It is on wetalkfiber.com. At the pinned post at the top with the link that goes to the registration for that. I'm getting several emails from people, and I can't register you. So I have to write a letter back to them saying, I can't register, so go to there. So that's what he was saying. Tonight is the same email at the top of the screen, like always. Vonnet, We Talk Fiber. Quarantine is the subject line with your name and address and email in the body of the email, so that we can get a hold of you when we pull your name.
Yep. Ooh, someone here from Auckland. Hi, Erica. Clear as a bell in Auckland. We made it to Auckland. Somebody asked what tape. I just use artist tape on the edges of the canvas. just 1 inch 1 inch artist tape. Just wrap half and half on the canvas, and that it fixes the edges. You can use that frog tape or painter's tape if you want. I just really suggest you don't use masking tape. And I'll tell you, I had an experience today. I was looking for something and ran across a canvas that I obviously had gotten ready to do a project with and just never did it. And I had used masking tape on it, and it was old. It was an old canvas, and the masking tape had dried up and had flaked off. And sure enough, underneath that was that gooey glue that comes with masking tape. Don't use it. Use artist tape. You can just go, just to an artist shop, or I'm sure Michael's has it, whatever. I mean, this is pro brand artist tape. I'm sure it was the cheapest tape that they had when I got it. And of course, a roll like this is a lifetime, and that works. And most shops who put tape on the edges that'll have like their name, their shop brand and logo on it, most of them, I'm sure, are using artist tape. It's really the best option for that. So highly recommend that on your on the edge of your canvas. And it really, for me, it's important, especially if you're doing pieces where there's silk, because you don't want to snag your silk on the edge of your canvas, because it's kind of hard on the silk. So if you put tape on, then it gives a smooth edge there and it doesn't snag. And so I mean, I think it's important to do that, but just don't use teal, not frog tape. You'll rip it. Yeah, okay. You win, teal. Yep. Well, Terry, I'm going to say not never have to block it, but you sure do minimize how much you have to block, if at all. When Vanna did my piece here that she did, she didn't have to block it. It was all squared up. And I use the same technique. Didn't have to block it or anything. To me, that's important. I think it's worth that prep work when you're doing needlepoint canvas to get it as square as possible on that frame and keep it that way, because, I mean, I don't, especially with silks and stuff, I don't like people spraying water on it after the fact, because they have to block it to get it squared up again. And plus then you're jerking the stitches around, and yeah, I just don't like it. So I go to great lengths at the beginning up front. It's always the prep work. I always go to great lengths to make sure that canvas is on there square, both ways square, and isn't going to move, isn't going to go anywhere, so that when you're all done, you take that canvas off, you don't see a little shift in the threads when you take it off, and you know that it's gone out of square on you. So to me, it's important. So yeah. So Terry, I'm not guaranteeing it's going to come out absolutely square, but I will say that if you make that effort, you're going to be pretty darn close. You won't be too far off if you have it square. And I go to the trouble. I bought a little square. It's a 10-inch, 11-inch square by 8. I actually use a square on the stretcher bars, and then I lay it on the canvas when I get it on there to make sure the threads are square too. I just think it's worth the trouble all the way around. So up to you. Your mileage may vary, as they say. And that's exactly it, Terry. Yeah, blocking's not fun. I had one that I took in for framing that I thought was squared, and I checked, why was it taking so long? Well, they had to block it. It was just a little bit off. They had to block it, and it was taking a while to get it blocked. And all I could think of was all that water was getting sprayed on there, and it was getting jerked around. And it came out fine, but I just don't like it. If you can avoid it, it's worth it. To me, anyway, it is. Let's see. Yeah, artist tape. Oh yeah, Vanna killed it on this piece. I'm really proud of this thing. Because when I did this is out of Debbie Rowley's Christmas book. She has a book with, what, 25, is it? 25 ornaments in it.
I got it right here somewhere.
Yeah. This is one. I've done 2 of them. Well, almost finished the second one. Yeah. That's that. When you can see the one I did right here is in the middle there. Yeah. It's a great collection because none of them are alike at all. So it's a really great collection. But this is 4+ inches wide. I couldn't see that hanging on a tree. Seems so big. And I suggested to Vanna maybe a flat fold, and she said she already had in mind a box. And so she made it into a box like that. I'm really happy with it. I'm really proud of it. Of course, Vanna did a great job finishing it. There's no question about that. But I'm just really proud of it. And then the nice thing is it doesn't have to be out just at Christmas. So that's a great book. If you want to try some small counted canvas projects, that's a great book. Because the other one that I have almost done is this one here. And there's a legitimate reason why it's not done.
Is that in the book? Oh, yeah, there it is.
Yeah. The reason this isn't done is I got frustrated, and I think I just have this much more to go, I think.
You don't have anything. All you have is that one line, and then in between the see, it's right here. You have the blue, there's like blue dots right there.
Oh, I got to beat it. That's right. I got to beat it. Yeah. So that's really tragic that I don't have this done, because I'm almost there, and I just have to beat it. But I will tell you, this one was a real struggle for me because it uses Kreinik silk mori, which I always have trouble with it. I know some people say it's great, but it's still so fly away to me. I just fought with it the entire time, was wetting it down, and I got a job on it. It works, and I'm pleased with it. But I just got frustrated. So clearly, I just set it aside with just this row to go. That's pretty sad. I should really probably finish that off. Then I got to beat it, and it'll be done. But this one also is from that book, and it's all done in silk. Beautiful. The interesting challenge on this thing was that you have all this silk. It's white on white, but that's the back side, and doing it so that the thread show through was minimized. And so that was an interesting challenge through all that open space. And I got a pretty decent job on it. So I just got frustrated with it, set it aside. But I really should go back. I mean, that one row, that's, a couple hours tops. But yeah, so that Debbie Rowley book, if you want to try, that's a good one. And there's something in there for everybody. And of course, changing the colors. I mean, take this one here, and I could easily do a red one. You can do all kinds of things with the same thing and have each ornament look different. So, that's a good book. Worth checking out.
Yeah. No, the only shop tonight is Stitchy Box. Sorry.
Yep.
We do not put tape over the tacks, and so sometimes threads can get caught on the tacks. But you could put tape over the tacks, I guess.
Yeah, and that happens. It happens to me all the time. It's dragging a thread out. Yeah, it gets caught on the tack. I'd rather have it caught on the tack than the rough edge. Now you see, I did not tape this particular canvas. I have no idea why I didn't tape it, because it's I don't know, just didn't. But I remember stitching it with that. Oh no, I know why. Because I stitched in the well. That's right. I wasn't worried about it because I stitched in the well. That's what was going on there. Because that's unusual for me to not tape it. But I stitched in the well, so it's not an issue, because that's on the back side. So that's why I did that. Yeah. I really should finish that, don't you think? Yeah.
There's nothing left. Hardly.
Yep.
So Girly wants to know our stitching stories, how we got started.
Oh, go ahead.
I was 13 or 14 years old, and my mom and dad were divorced, and I had to go to St. Louis to stay with my dad for 6 weeks during the summer. And it was pretty real boring in St. Louis with not, my dad and my stepmother worked, so I couldn't drive. I didn't know anybody. So, I was there with my brother. So, my stepmother gave me a cross-stitch kit, and said, just read the instructions and you can do it. And if you need any help, I'll be home tonight. And I opened it up and I taught myself, and I got it done like in a day. And then the next day she gave me the complimentary one to that. It was just a small little bear that said good night, and he was holding a candle, and then, just like an ornament size. And then the second one said sleep tight, and he was in bed. And I finished those that summer. And then she took me to pick out a bigger kit, and I went and picked out a bigger kit, and then that was history. I've stitched ever since. I never have not stitched. I've always have stitched. So that's my story.
Yep. Girlfriend in college. She and her friend did needlepoint, and I said, hey, what's that all about? Asked about it, showed me. So I put myself through school, so went and spent money I didn't have to get some. That was in the wool and basket weave days when you stitch with wool, and enjoyed it and just kept doing it. Learned needlepoint on 13 count canvas, big old holes and big fat wool thread. Learned how to do it. Actually, I enjoyed even that. Today I don't enjoy basket weave, but and then just kind of kept doing it. And as we went along, my mother knitted stockings for each of us 4 kids, and so I still have that stocking. And then then I made a crewel from a kit, a crewel work stocking for Marga, and then I did a needlepoint one for Sarah, and then did a cross stitch one for Kevin. So each one of the stockings is a different technique. And I did a cross stitch one for Kevin. That's the one that took me almost 28 years because I kept putting it off. But so each one is different. And now, and then I did 2 of the Shepherd's Bush stockings for our grandsons, because you finished both of those. So I did those 2 Shepherd's Bush. Those are great stockings. If you want to do a stocking that's not going to take you a month of Sundays, those Shepherd Bush stockings make really nice stockings. Highly recommend them. And there's so many, I don't know how many different designs there are, but highly recommend that. And now my next thing is I want to do a stocking for our daughter-in-law, Michelle. She's very into sparkly things. And so I've been kind of looking around for a very sparkly stocking that she would enjoy, because I'd like to have that so she could hang that with Kevin's stocking. But yeah, just girlfriend in college. That's how I got started. Yep.
Now they want to know how we met.
This is your life. Well, you were a guest. You were a guest because I followed Vanna's blog for a long time, and then you were one of our early guests on Fiber Talk.
I was number 2. I was the second.
Second one, yeah. So, yeah, that's how we met. And then had you back. And then when Christine had to move on to other things, then it was, hey, Vanna. Yeah. Yeah, she was a guest. Yep.
But you did write me emails like once a year. I would get an email from Gary Parr, Chicago, Illinois, and he would always say nice things like about my blog or about my family and stuff like that. So there you go.
Yep.
There you are.
It's just that simple. Just that simple. Yep. So, yeah. And
they want to see my Anasazi song.
Well, then let's show it. Look at that.
All I have is this left.
Now, have you done, you got to do the Kreinik there in between the dealies, right?
Yeah, and I don't have it. I don't have any more of that. So what I'm thinking is this Kreinik, that gold, that like bronze. I think I'm thinking about just using the bronze in there.
Well, I'll look at, I probably have a spool of it.
It's 041.
Is it?
But see, now if you're going to do the other Anasazis, 041's in the other ones too.
Well, yeah, but then I'll just get a different color. But you already started with 041, right? Right?
Well, yeah, but then this other Kreinik there's another Kreinik right here.
Yeah. Let me look and see. I bet I have a spool of it. You can just have it, and then you can at least finish that one off consistently. Right?
Yeah. It looks nice.
I'm
really proud of it.
Yeah, you should be. It's beautiful. It would be my distinct pleasure to send you a spool of 041 if I have it.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
No, I think it's a great design. That's a beautiful design. Yours is really working up nice. Boy, you flew that.
Okay, and then I did fly through it.
Yeah.
Somebody wants to know, can you use scroll bars for a needlepoint? Now, can I say what I think? Some people do use scroll bars,
Mm-hmm.
but I think personally, and this is, take it or leave it, that it makes the canvas wonky and not square. And then at the end, you have to like really block it a lot, and then that makes it all nasty. Some people do use them, but I wouldn't personally.
Yeah, I have used scroll bars for needlepoint, and no, I don't like what it does because it gets all kittywampus, and I don't like it. I'd much rather use a great big, well, and this thing is, I don't know, that's a big frame right there. I'd rather use this and deal with the size and reaching over it than put it on scroll bars. I don't like what it does. And if I had one that was bigger than practical, then I'd find a slate frame and do it on there. But anything that keeps that canvas flat and square, to me, is worth the trouble, long term. Yeah. No, and I've done the scroll bar thing, and it's all fun and games till you take it off the scroll bars, and then, geez, it's all curled up, and no. And then if you do one that has stitches like this, where they're highly textured, that's just nothing but bumps and valleys. Then you're crushing those. If you have to scroll it, you're crushing those stitches, and I don't think it's worth it. No, whatever it takes to keep it flat and open for me. Yeah.
I agree. Okay, then there's been another one. Somebody said something. Oh, how do I stitch? Polly wants to know how I stitch. I don't turn the needle, so I go through the well, not on the canvas, because you can't do it through that. You'll kill you can't shove the eye through the canvas. But on linens, I don't ever move my needle. So if this is the needle and this is the eye up here, I go down and up and down and up like that. I never turn it. Therefore, the thread never twists, and you never have to railroad it or anything. It just lays side by side if you're using more than one thread.
And it works. The technique works. It works really well. I did it for a long time, and then habit. I just don't think about it, and I go back to old habits. But it does work. It works really well. You just have to think. You have to think about it till you don't think about it anymore, and that's what happened to me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Let's see. Yeah, there, Christine. I've tried your way with the needle up, and it is a life changer. It really is. It does work. And Tori, you're right. Vanna will outstitch me. I guarantee you on Mother's Day, but it won't be for lack of trying. Let's see. Is she gonna frame?
What?
What? Go ahead.
Vanna, I tried your way of stitching and freaky look.
It
looks freaky. That's bad.
Oh. It works. It's a good technique. Yep.
Somebody way up that asked about Christine. Like, is she okay, I guess?
Yeah, she's fine. Yeah, things got straightened out for her. Yep, she's fine. I really don't have any communication with her and haven't for a long time, but from everything I know, she's fine. Just life got in the way. Yeah, she had some health problems, got married, raising a kid. Life got in the way, and it was just better for her to move on to other things. So, yeah. She still does some stitching. She pops something up every now and then. But, yeah, she's fine. Just didn't work out for her. It takes a lot of time. It takes time. So,
yeah. Then somebody just asked me, did I come up with the technique that I use? Yes. I came up with it my way, but I since have found out that, I'm not the only one that has done that. I'm not saying that. I mean, I know that there's other people that stitch that way. How I found out about how it worked is that I had like 3 stitches left and not very much floss. And I thought, oh, if I go up and down like this, I don't have to turn my needle. And when I did it, I was actually stitching white when I did it. And my white thread stitches laid so much better when I did it that way. And I got this stitch right to the end. So that's how I came up with, I thought, I'm going to try to stitch this way all the time. And I stitched that way all the time. And I saw how much A, faster it was, and then B, how nice my stitches looked. So that's how I came up with it. But I have soon found that there's several other people that have stitched that way and were taught that way, I guess. But I wasn't taught. I just came up with it on my own.
Well, and if you're doing two threads or 2 strands, then yeah, that's where it really pays off, because you don't have to lay them, you don't have to railroad them, you just go, and that's where it really pays off. And I think that's why I got away from it. Was I always try to do 1 strand, and so I went back to old habits because I didn't have to worry about 2 strands laying next to each other. But yeah, that technique works fantastic because you don't have to railroad or anything. Yeah, it really is a good one. And who was it? Was it said on Mother's Day? While you both did, yeah, the show is going to end. The show is going to end at 1/4 after, so it's going to be just 15-minute shows. We'll be on, and then we'll go off. And so we're going to be off, and then there will be no show for 45 minutes. You won't be able to watch us or anything, and then we'll come back for a new show for 15 minutes where we'll update each other and we'll have prizes and so on and so forth. So, because when we're doing one of these shows, if anybody's done a live show, there's a lot to keep track of. Got to keep watching, and I'm focused. So yeah, no, it'll be 5 15-minute shows. So we'll start out. We'll have some prizes. We have sponsors, 2 sponsors for each show, and prizes. And we'll set the scene on the first one, and then we'll stitch and come back, see how we did. Come back and see how we did, and then at the end, the last show will be 15 minutes to see who did the most. Which it'll be clear by the 3rd hour who did the most, but you never know. I might have a spurt there at the end and run right by you. But we encourage people, get with your friends, figure out some competitions with your friends, and make it kind of a competitive afternoon of stitching and see how much people can get done. Because I got to believe if you're really working hard at it in 4 hours, you can move some stuff. So yeah, make some fun out of it, and then we'll have prizes. Lots of people sending in prizes. If you have things you think you'd like to offer for prizes, we'd be happy to have them. Just write to me. It's Gary up at the top there. Just Gary instead of on it. WeTalkFiber.com. Write to me and let me know. Yep.
Okay, so there's a couple questions here for me. So somebody said that her thread frayed when she used my way of stitching, and that's a common complaint for some people. And could it be your needle? It could absolutely be your needle if you're using a small needle. I typically use 1 or 2 sizes bigger than what you would think for a certain count fabric, just because you want to open that hole on the linen to get so the drag's not as much on your thread. It could also be just the linen. If it was with Wichilt linen, that's very stiff. Sometimes R&R is very stiff. And so if you have a very stiff fabric that you're going through, Aida sometimes is stiff. That can be a reason why it wears. And I think I've shared this tip before, but I'll share it here again. Like the way I stitch is when I put a thread, how can I show you? When I put a thread in the needle, well, you can see on this one, here's my thread and I'm actively stitching with it, right? I only have like maybe 2.5 inches at a time from the canvas to the tail. And then I take a couple stitches and then I'll I'll move it down just a couple, and I'll take a couple more stitches, and then I'll move it down just a couple. And that means that if you stitch that way, it lessens the drag on the same place of thread, and that's what causes your thread to fray. So I take a couple of stitches and then I move my thread. I like have my thread so there's only about this much of active stitching thread, and then I move it each little bit, and that really decreases the wear on your thread or the fuzzing on your thread overall. So there you go. And Helene Gahuli asked, Bonnie, your way of stitching no needle turn with one hand or two? It doesn't matter. Before I had a stand, I did it with one hand. When I have a stand, I do it with two hands. It doesn't matter. Works either way. Okay, that's it.
Let's see.
That's all my questions.
I have to think. Yeah, Bonita. I believe me, Bonita. I'm a highly competitive individual. Believe me, I'm confident Vanna will outstitch me, but that isn't going to be because I don't try. I'm highly competitive. The problem is Vanna is easily as competitive as I am. So, yeah. So it's kind of a, yeah. And let's see. Could I show how to put the narrow stitching band on a hoop? Oh, yeah, that's worth discussing. Be right back.
Okay, then let's see. Somebody asked earlier, have I foundation paper piece? Yes, I have. And I like it. I think it's very nice. Very nice. You don't have to think about margin. Okay, go ahead. Are you ready?
I am.
Oh, okay.
Unless you wanted to talk more about paper piecing.
No, that's okay.
I'd like to know where that name came from.
Because you stitch on, it's foundation paper piecing, so you stitch on paper. You sew the fabric onto the paper, and then once it's pieced, then you rip the paper off, and there's your quilt block.
Wow.
Yeah, I have somewhere. I have some blocks somewhere around here.
I'll be darned. I did not. I thought it was just some old name. I didn't think actual paper was involved.
Mm-hmm.
Now, see, I learn something every day. Every day. So, okay, this is, whoops. Here, I'm going to go all me.
Okay.
It's easier. So this is the banding on a hoop, and it's a bad setup. And I have an oblong or a squarish hoop somewhere in here. Yeah, I don't know, somewhere. I'm going to wrap it because I'm starting to really hate this, because this goes on here and you can get the middle square, but then you can see the sides get floppy because of the circle, the arc. So it's not the best thing. What I really need is a more rectangular hoop, and I have one, and why I haven't taped it and used it, I don't know. But I mean, that's all I do. And this works. I mean, it's worked for all of this, so it's not like it doesn't work. It works just fine. But it's starting to really bug me. And so I'm going to put it on a different hoop next time, but I have to tape it. Yeah, you just put it on like this, and you just pull and tug till you get it taut enough that it holds up, and go for there. But yeah, if you had it on a hoop, oh here, now here for instance, yeah. Like I have this hoop here. This would be a better, as you can imagine, it still has some curve to it, but this would be a better hoop. And I think it's wide enough. Sure, it's wide enough. Yeah. So that would work. That would hold it better. I'd really like it to be a longer one, but yeah, circle with a square thing is not ideal, but it does work. And then what I'm doing here is I have these little magnet bars, so I scroll all this up, because you got that long tail, drives me nuts. So I scroll it all up, put a magnet inside and a magnet outside, that holds it there. But yeah, that's what I'm doing. Yeah. Okay, you're back, Lana.
Okay.
There we go.
So I was going to show you. Here's paper piecing. So here it is. You know, so you do 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, and you just add. So you lay the fat, and then when you get done, it looks like this.
I'll be darned.
See?
Hmm.
Yeah. So there you go.
And so you just have a whole bunch of those papers and sew it on there, tear the paper off, and you're done. Oh, look at you.
Yep.
Hmm.
Okay. Then somebody asked, South Carolina Colleen asked, how to achieve, do I have a trick about how to achieve perfect tension? Yes, I do. Okay, so the reason I worry about tension, I never worried about it until about 14 years ago when I started putting my stuff in the fair, and I got dinged year after year after year after year on my tension. And so I finally I read everything I could find about tension, and I really like tried when I was stitching to find out what makes the best tension. You know, what do you do? So the first thing I can say is don't stitch when you're angry, because that really that really does affect your tension.
Yep.
It honestly really does. So if you're angry, don't stitch on something that is especially linen. Don't stitch on linen if you're angry. Wait until you calm down before that. Then the other thing is when you're laying your stitches, like, okay, you're doing your stitches, you don't have to lay them with a tool or anything. But when you're laying your stitches across the linen or the can, whatever, you want to make sure that they kind of like float on the linen, not that they pull the linen threads. When you go through, you have to, and it's just practice where you look for it when you're doing it. You don't want to see, like, if your linen threads are laying like this, and then when you pull your thread down, one goes like this. You don't want that. You want it to just slide through the linen, and the threads all lay the same. And then a way to check to see if your tension is off is, let me get my here. You want to take your piece, okay, and you hold it up to light. And if you see like visible light coming through your piece, like if you hold it up to the light and you go like, oh, I can see like all these holes, your tension is too tight. You don't want to see like really any holes at all in your tension. You want it to just kind of, you just want to kind of let it float. So it just is like stitch, stitch, stitch. You know, see what I mean? Where it's just stitch, 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 but no pulling on the like you can particularly see up here. There's no distortion of the linen threads, and that's what you want. Somebody has said before, like when you're taking your stitch, when you come up to pull, that instead of pulling with your pointer and your thumb, that you pull with your pinky, because you'll never pull tight enough, or you'll pull just enough that you just pull it like that. I don't do that. I just go up and down, but I've practiced so much that I have pretty good tension. But if I'm angry, I don't. If I'm angry, I don't have good tension. So I've learned that I don't I don't stitch when I'm angry. So anyways, it's just kind of one of those things where you just have to practice and be aware of it. And then once you're aware of it, then you just always like think about it in the back of your mind without consciously thinking about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But then it's all different when you do canvas, because in canvas you just yank the sucker, so it's kind of like so you kind of just have to like,
well, that's what I was going to say. You do needlepoint on linen when you're not angry, and then when you're angry, you do counted canvas work, because you can just pull on that thing,
yeah.
and slowly the tension just goes away. Yep, and then your stitches are just right. Yep.
Yeah.
Somebody asked why I don't have this on scroll rods, because this is my travel piece. This is what I take when I travel. And I don't want to deal with scroll rods when I travel, so I deal with a hoop. And now that it's been brought up tonight, I really probably need a bigger hoop, but I'm going to tape this up and use it. But yeah, it's because I travel with it. That's my travel piece. The only reason it's out is because I decided, since I'm not traveling, that I would do a little work on it. And but that's why. And somebody asked what color of thread I'm using for that piece. It's MPI silk, MPI 465, MPI silk, deep blue. And I chose that, one, because blue is my favorite color, and two, because it went with the banding that is built into or the colors that are built into the banding. So I felt it made a nice thing. But also, really dark blues are my favorite colors, so that's what I went with.
Yeah. Okay, so then Susan Haywood says, do you find that going either laying half crosses and then coming back has better tension, or finishing the X before you go on to the next X is better?
You're asking me?
I'm going to ask what you think, and then I'll say what I think.
Well, I finished the X's. I finish the X's all the time, except in this one where I'm stitching over one. And here I finish X's some of the time, but the majority of the time I do half X's. And the reason I do that is I learned from Jean Lee that if you do half X's over one, you don't have to worry about how you do your stitches and having a thread slide underneath the warp or the weft, whichever one it is. You don't have to worry about that. If you do half crosses and come back, it takes that problem away, so you can just stitch. So on this over one, I'm stitching half crosses, except for where I have to stitch full crosses to get to the next spot. And so I bounce back and forth, but the majority of this is done with half crosses as I go.
You want to know how I do over one?
Yes.
Okay, so I do finish the X. I finish the X's. No, I don't. I finish the X's almost 90% of the time. I prefer that. I feel like my stitching looks better when I do that. But that's just I don't think that that's a hard, fast rule. I think that's just a Vana thing. I just finish the X's. But the other thing that I was going to say, when I do my over one stitching, I wrap the thread, and I do finish my X's. So if you would come up from the left hand, lower left to right, upper right, instead of going that way, I go under up to the upper right, down to the left, then over to the left, up to the right. So I'm like wrapping it, a double wrap over every one, and then it doesn't bury. You see what I'm saying? So it's like matted on the back almost when you're done.
Yep.
But it won't ever disappear in the threads. That's how I do it.
And that's exactly what I do. And you can see that. You can see that where it's really dense. It gets really thick in the back. I do the very same thing for that same reason. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to think about that either.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And then somebody asked something else just now. Do I always sit in the same chair or couch, or do you stitch in lots of rooms? I stitch all over the place. I have 3 areas set up in my home where I stitch. I mean, now when I say set up, I don't mean like only I sit in that chair. Like I have a light and a stand in my living room. I have a light and a stand down in here in the cave, and I have one up in our bedroom. I stitch primarily up in my bed. If I'm going to choose where I want to stitch up in my bedroom, because that's where I have like everything like outfitted to me. But no, I can stitch anywhere. I stitch out on my deck now that it's nice outside. I've stitched out on my deck the last couple of times I've stitched in the evening. Before I came down here if we had a show, I sat out there and stitched for half an hour or so. So anyways, there you go.
And I stitch right here, right where we record the live shows. I have my table and all my stuff right here. So that's, other than that, when I'm on the road, just about the only place I stitch is right here. Because I can look right that way, and the TV's right there, and I have all kinds of table space when I keep it clean. So it's, set up for that. It all stays contained. Yep. What else?
Well, I don't even know what this is. The English. She's trying to trip us up here. I'm not this knowledgeable. Did you know there is a Danish method the English method or the Victorian method of making cross stitches. I think the Victorian gives the best tension, although few people have heard of it.
Got me.
I just think that you just have to
I
work
just
and
make
work
X's.
and work until you get it the ones that you feel like you're right. I've been judged enough. I feel like I know what I'm talking about as far as tension goes, because
Yeah.
I've definitely been judged enough
Yeah.
and told when I get it wrong.
Yeah, I don't know all those techniques. Just make X's. Make sure the top goes the same way every time, which means the bottom has to go the other way. Yeah. Somebody asked how long a thread I use or we use. Usually about 18 inches, I think. Usually somewhere in there.
Yeah, I do 18 inches.
Yeah.
So like when overdyed floss comes, well, like Weeks doesn't, but I use Classic Colorworks predominantly.
Yeah, 18.
And they come in a yard length, and I cut it in half. So I always use about 18 inches, always, or less.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, all my silks for cross stitch, I cut 18 inches. I'll literally lay a cutting board mat down or a ruler, and I'll just sit there and cut them roughly to length. I mean, I don't get close or don't get picky about it. But now needlepoint, you can make a big mistake with conic canvas needlepoint, or if you're doing any kind of stitches, if you go sit down and cut a bunch of silk like I do for cross stitch, where I'll just cut, like for that banding thing, I just cut the whole skein 18 inches.
Mm-hmm.
If you do that for needlepoint, you'll get yourself in trouble because you'll get to a Jessica stitch or some other stitch where you need a 4-foot length, and you don't have any 4-foot lengths because you cut them all up. And then it's a pain in the butt to piece together that stitch and have it look right. So I never cut needlepoint project pieces until I get into the piece. And if I see that I'm going to be doing regular stitching, say basket weave or something, a satin stitch for a lot, then I might cut a few pieces. But in general, I don't cut them at all until I actually get to that particular one, and then I will cut what I need, because I've done that to myself more than once, trying to be efficient, and ended up basically having thread I couldn't use. So not worth it.
So, Anna Kim has said several things about what the Victorian and the English, or the Danish and the English is. Seems like nobody knows what Victorian is, but the top of the X is from left to right rather than from right to left.
Oh.
So that I do Danish then, because no, wait a minute, let me think. No, I do English then, because I do bottom right to top left is what my top stitch is.
Yeah, see, and I don't follow any pattern because I go according to how I need to get to.
Well, I do too.
So,
I don't follow like down here to up here, but your X's all should lay the same, no matter which corner you come in. So my top X always goes pointing that way. So from right to left, or left, you know what I mean?
From lower left to upper right. Lower left to upper right.
No, that would be this way. So mine goes this way.
Upper left.
Lower right to upper left, or upper left down to lower right.
Yeah, that's the way I do it. Yeah. But I will, how I get there will depend on where I'm at in the pattern.
Exactly. I agree with that too.
So
because I don't do I sometimes will go from upper right to lower left, then from lower right to upper left, or vice versa. However it's going to be my stitch path is, or how the next thread's going to lay, or whatever, where I'm going. Right. That's how I do. I don't do the dun dun, like some people. I don't do that.
No, me neither. Yeah, it's what gets me where I need to go. Who makes my square hoop? Hardwick Manor. All my hoops are Hardwick Manor. All of them. It's the only one I own. Right there. There's the symbol. Yep. I really should get one. This one was, these little puppies, these square ones are expensive. I should get one bigger. Kim. But I should get one bigger. But yeah, all my hoops are Hardwick Manor. I tend to lock in on a brand and stick with it if it works.
Oh, okay, so this Kelly Freeman says that the Victorian method, which is the best source online, is the Elizabeth Bradley needlepoint. You come up in a clean hole every time. You go to the far side to start the next stitch. Well, then I do stitch that way because I always go over to the right-hand side, and I always come up with my needle in a clean hole and go down in a busy hole. So then I stitch that way, and I do use a lot of thread, and I don't care. Because I mean, some people have said, "Well, you waste thread." Well,
I don't care. Yeah, and I do that. I do that too. I come up with a clean hole and go down, but I won't say 100% of the time. There are times when I will come up in a dirty hole or a filled hole because it suits the stitch path better. But generally, 90% or so, I come up clean and go down in the dirty hole. Yeah. I just don't, when it comes to that, I don't worry about it. I worry about tension, and I worry about what gets me where I need to go so I can keep a flow going. And I couldn't care less how much thread I use. It's what does the job.
I don't care about how much thread I use either, and I'm probably like a thread waster, and I don't.
I'm a horrible thread waster.
Right, and but I will say this: I do think about that. I think about that a lot, and that's why it was so hard for me on the queen stitch, is because you had to come up sometimes in holes that already had threads in it, and that was what bothered me at the beginning. But I do think about that a lot, because I just, in my own, like trying to become a better stitcher and judging and all that stuff, I found that your X's lay much better when you come up in a clean, in a non, filled up hole.
Yeah, an empty hole. Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody just wrote that you wrote to Gary Kaufman about stretcher bars and he didn't respond. That is the first time I've heard him not responding to anything. Let's just double check the email here. Hang on. Jeez.
He does. Now wait a minute. I can like footnote this. He will not respond to you, and then the things will show up in the mail, and then about 2 or 3 days later, the invoice comes, because I ordered them, and he never said, "Hey, got your email."
Oh,
and then
no.
About 3 days later, that I got the bars. So don't worry up about. Oh, that's what she said. I emailed Mr. Coffin on Monday to order a set of stretcher bars, and I received them in the mail yesterday.
Oh yeah, he won't respond. He just sends them. He just literally sends them.
Yeah.
The last time the ones I got for Vaughn and me, I emailed him the night before late, and in the morning I had an email, and I said I would come and pick him up because he lives about 10 miles from me. I said I would come and pick him up. He said, well, they're done. And this was like 10 in the morning. They're done, so, and in quarantine fashion, he says, I'll leave them outside the door, and you can just leave a check. And yeah, he doesn't. All he does is deliver product. Once you order, he just delivers product. He doesn't deal with the formalities. For people who are wondering about these stretcher bars, there's the address again. Adjust a frame. That's the whole thing. His name is Gary Kaufman. And you write to him, and then he'll send you a price list. And then you order, and yeah, he literally just ships them to you. Because people have been saying here, they've been getting them 2 to 3 days after order. Yeah, because he's shipping them probably same day. He just delivers the product. There's nothing fancy about him. So there it is again. But yeah.
Okay, so Terry Bacchus wants to know, are y'all done with the queen? Yeah, because we have a lot of time on our hands. And I've just been like, it's already hanging on my wall. And then the second thing is that
we're not done. Not even close.
Any hint to not split the thread in the filled holes? Yeah. Well, first of all, I don't try to ever come up with holes that are filled, but if I do, my way that I stitch, coming up with the eye, you don't split threads. because the point of the needle is what splits the threads, not the eye, because the eye's fatter. And so when it comes up, it won't split threads.
Yep.
Fact.
And
so anyways, I don't have that problem.
Yep. And Kim's right. Just come up to the side. Yeah, I don't split threads either. I go out of my way to not split threads.
Oh yeah, well you don't want that's
Yeah.
an automatic mark down if you're getting that's an automatic red mark. So I don't split threads either. But another thing is I have had, like, I noticed on my needlepoint that there's sometimes where I've thought, gosh dang it, you can't go down in a clean hole because you're doing like something. And if you use the snag nabbit to kind of like open the hole and then go down, you don't split threads, because I've had to do that a couple times. So there you go.
Yep. David Osborne, Gary or Robert? He says Robert, but then the last time he wrote to me, he said his name was Gary too. So I don't know. I don't know if his name is Robert Gary or Gary Robert Kaufman or what it is, but he goes by Gary and then uses Robert. I don't know. Who just finished Agnes Day here? Wait a minute.
Suddenly Joy. And then
put up a picture. Put up a picture on Instagram. Got to see that thing. Congratulations. Wow, that's huge.
Does the ballpoint needle prevent split threads? Yes, and that's one of the selling points that people say about the ballpoint needle is that it doesn't split threads. So there you go.
Could you use the Kaufman stretcher bars for punch needle? Don't know why not. How do you mount the cloth for punch needle?
Well, it has to be very taut, so that does make very taut things. So yeah, you probably could.
Yeah, because what do you normally mount them on?
Well, I mount mine on a rug frame.
Oh.
You want to see it? I got it right here.
I'd be curious. Yeah. Boy, boy, Joy, that's fantastic. You finished that. That is one pile of stitches there. Definitely post that. I want to see that thing, because I'm not that far. Here, I'm going to Alvana.
So this is what I punch on. And here's
and that's for quilting?
No, it's for punch needle.
Oh, that is a punch needle frame. Oh.
And they make it can be like rug hooking too. But there's my punch. So you just put it on. See, like these. Well, let me get 3 sides done and then I'll show you. So, see, you just put it on there and it just holds the little teeth on this thing, holds it really taut, and that's how you want it.
Oh, you don't use tacks or anything? Oh.
No.
Huh. And I see it has a slope to it so
your hand doesn't hurt. That's why I got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got all the stuff, Gary.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we have established that. All the toys. All the toys. Let's see.
She did it 1/1. Suddenly Joy did. Her Agnes Day.
She did Agnes Day 1/1. Ooh. Ooh, that's a big tip of the cap right there. Wow.
Yes, Mindy, the clean hole thing is, but you can really do it from any corner, but a really good explanation of how to do the clean hole thing and where to start is on, they do that. It's not Heaven and Earth. It's that other real, very densely stitched, they have a really good explanation of it. What is the name of it? They're not Hades. It's like an R name. It's not Hades, but it's but they do full coverage things, and they have a wonderful thing that explains it. But anyways, I can't. I'm sorry. I'll
Yeah.
think of it in the middle of the night. But yes, that is some reasons why they start in the left-hand corner and go up at a diagonal. But I don't do the diagonal, but that is kind of, yes, Mindy, yes, right.
Yep.
Sorry, I cut my finger on that.
I thought I saw you do that. I thought, oh, that felt like a cut finger there. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. I saw you flinch, and I thought, oh, because what is that, like steel teeth or something, like little metal teeth?
Mm-hmm.
Like Velcro, only metal.
Mm-hmm.
Scarlet Quince, is that the name you're coming up for, or Golden Kite?
Yes, Scarlet Quince. Yes.
Quince.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Quince. Is it Quince or Quince?
Quince.
Quince. Yeah,
yep.
it's on there. Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they've got a lot of tips on there, and when I was trying to figure out about tension and stuff, I went there and somehow I found it and read it, and it's a lovely article about it, and it talks about stitching on the diagonal, which Brian that you met, Brian.
Oh, yeah.
He stitches like that. That's too much head. I can't do that, but they talk about clean holes and all of that stuff in there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I just try to come up with a clean hole as much as I can, but then if I can't, I move on. Because I'm not ever going to take mine to the state fair to have it judged under a microscope. So.
Honestly, I refer to that a lot. And when I first started doing it, I mean, you know that it made me mad. But to be honest with you, that's been the best thing. That's been the best thing about how to be a better stitcher, honestly. For me, it's been very good to improve as a stitcher.
Yeah.
You know, it's always good to get, like, advice without being, like, completely torn apart.
Well, yeah, there's no doubt. To get that constructive criticism is helpful. Mm-hmm. To just get torn apart, nobody needs that. No.
No.
Reminder: get your emails in to Vanna there to have a shot at the combination packages of Fiber Talk needle minders. That's the 2-incher right there. The 1-inch is right here. So you get 2 1-inches and 1 2-incher in the combination package. So we're giving away 2 of those tonight. T-shirts. Fiber Talk made me buy it. T-shirts also at wetalkfiber.com/shop. I can't find the price for Royal Garden.
Price. And then what is this Dust to Dawn thing?
You got dragged into a thread today, but you obviously haven't been on Facebook all day.
No, we moved Katie home today.
Oh.
Fully. That's that textured stitches thing that you got, isn't it?
Yeah. Beth, there's 3 or 4 of us. We're dragging you into a little stitch along today. Yeah, you'll find it when you get onto Facebook. Yeah.
They're a Canadian company, aren't they?
Yeah, she's from Canada. Yeah, because somebody was working on that one that I bought, the more complex one, and so then we were congratulating and applauding her, and then I don't know if it was Beth or I forget who started the problem. It wasn't me. I just played along. I'm innocent. Yeah.
So, well, I'm always game for something, and that's a beautiful piece.
See, Beth, I told you we'd suck her in without any trouble.
Honestly, I wanted that after I saw that you had it. I mean, that was beautiful, and I didn't see it because I wasn't with you. Arlene was with you that night.
Yeah.
And so I didn't see it in person, and then I stopped in there to see it in person just because I watched what you had. I guess I I saw it in person. I guess it's because I don't know why. But anyways, I stopped in and it is gorgeous. And I would love to do it. But where can you get that in the States or do you have to order from them?
I don't know. We'll find out. Yeah. Actually, I don't know if Cindy's here, so we'll blame it all on Cindy. She started it. We can figure it out.
Was it in Needlepoint Nation?
Yeah, it's in the new Counted Canvas thing off of Needlepoint Nation. You're a member.
Okay.
You're a member because you're tagged twice, so you'll show up. Yeah. Somebody asked if the magnets on these things are strong enough for needlepoint canvas. You bet they are. That's why. That's why when I did these, when I put these together, tested a bunch of magnets, and the test was, will it hold up on needlepoint canvas? Because I knew anything would hold up on linen. Will it hold up on needlepoint canvas? Yeah, these things will. In spades, they will. And as a matter of fact, if you have two of them in the area, you want to be careful because they will slam together and pinch your fingers. But you can put these on needlepoint canvas. They will stay there. They will hold your needles on both sides. They'll hold your laying tool, scissors, everything. They are strong. And that's intentional. Yeah. So,
and
yes.
yeah, and let me tell you, I have to be careful. I can't put them on my little magnet holder. I have like a magnet board, framed magnet board, what I put like my patterns and stuff on. It'll pull the frame. If I try to get it off of the magnet board, it'll pull it off the wall. So I can't put it on there. I have to like slide them on my 3-tiered cart. And then to get them off my 3-tiered cart, I have to go to like slide them off. They are strong.
Yep. But that was intentional because I've got a whole bunch of needle minders that they'll stay on there on a piece of linen. They'll stay on if you don't bump them real hard, and the needles will pretty much stay on there. And I didn't want that. I want to put a needle on there, and I want it there when I get back to it. So the magnets, these are 1 inch or so magnets on the back of this, and then 3/4 inch on the back of the 1 inch pieces. So and they're strong, and that's intentional. Didn't want any. Just got to be careful. And Cindy said she'd take all blame for dragging you into that thing, and that was really magnanimous of Cindy to volunteer to take all blame because she was getting it anyway. So you're in. You're in.
So Beth said, "Oh, that's nice. I'm just glad to be a part of something. Thank you. Thanks for including me. I never get. I was always the last one to be picked.
Yeah, well,
and didn't go to the prom. So thanks. I'd love to do Dusk to Dawn. Thank you for asking.
Dragged you right into it. We didn't ask. We just put you in. You didn't. There was no option offered. Just you're in. Susie McClung. Yeah, see, that's what, I've got a whole bunch of those needle minders that just don't, they're there and they're for looks. I want ones that hold. They have to function. Oh, yeah, and good point, Sandy. Keep those things away from your electronics. Yeah, I'm real careful. Don't put it on your computer. Yeah, I mean I have a bunch of magnets here that just didn't measure up till I found the right ones. Yep. Let's see what else we got. Come back tomorrow night. We're stitching tomorrow night, and quarantine stitch hour. So we'll be back tomorrow night. We'll have a couple more things to give away, and the cameras will be on stitching instead of our faces. And Arlene and I are doing the podcast Wednesday. We'll be back Wednesday night for another one. Be sure to watch that. I hope people will watch the video with Natalie Dupree. I really think I think it's, at least when we recorded it, I haven't looked at it since then. When we recorded it, I think it's interesting and informative, and you get to see some beautiful stuff and learn things. I really encourage people to watch it because I think it'll be worth it. And then come back a week from Saturday, and I'll make announcements through the week. We'll make announcements so that you don't miss it. But for that live show to ask her questions, she's a very talented lady. So I just encourage you to give that a whirl there. I think I'd like to do more of that kind of stuff where we have a show of that kind and then a follow up. I think there's value in that in terms of Because you go through a show like that on couching in this case, and you have questions, and then now I got to go do some research. But boy, I'd really like to ask the lady who was talking about it what she meant or how she did it, and so this is an opportunity to do that. So make some notes as you go along when you watch that. How do you enter the magnet giveaway? Teresa, you go right at the top of the screen there where it says Vonna at WeTalkFiber.com. You set up an email, send it to Vonna. In the subject line, you put the word quarantine, and in the body of the thing, you put your name and address. And you fire that thing off, and that puts you in a drawing, and you'll learn Monday night whether you won or not.
No, you'll learn tomorrow night.
Tomorrow Saturday, you'll learn tomorrow night whether you won or not. It's that simple. If you want to be in on the Mother's Day thing, you go to WeTalkFiber.com, and you click on the link in that first article right at the top of the page, and you put your name and address and everything right in the form. And you'll be in the drawing for all of the things on Mother's Day. But the catch is you have to respond. That when we announce your name, you have to respond by email within a half an hour and acknowledge receipt or that you've won, or we're going to give the prize to somebody else. Because honest truth, I just don't want people signing up and never showing up in the audience or never showing up for the event because all they're looking for is free stuff. We got sponsors who are looking to have an audience, and they have specials, and they want to be made visible. And so if a bunch of people just sign up and never show up, then that defeats that purpose. So it's just hard economics. So if you that's the way it's going to work. Yes.
Yeah. Somebody said who won on Wednesday.
Ooh.
Let me get it.
Don't know.
I said it. Remember. I'll tell you. I'll tell you just a minute. Let me get it again. So that was the 20. When was that? The 22nd?
Yes.
Okay. Let me get it. Here we are. Sandy Hartman. Come on down. You're the first winner. Sandy Hartman. And then Nanette McDougall Dykes and Katie Jananga. There you go.
That's your Wednesday night winners. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Stitchy Box. Be sure and check out the Stitchy Box. 5% off on $25 orders with your code FiberTalk5. Code is FiberTalk5. Be sure and support the stitching. Support our shops initiative, where you give, if you buy a sampler, you give your local shop contact information, and Liz will share the profits. And then make a note somewhere to check every day at Stitchy Box in the month of May, because Liz is going to have a special every day. So make a note to check that, because likely you'll find 2 or 3 things that you'd like to have there throughout the month.
Okay, then somebody else asked, we got another thumbs down. Thanks. If we're here for all the time except the 15 minutes that our name is drawn, will the names be put back for the next drawings are tossed? Okay, well, so we're only having 15-minute shows, so it's not going to be like Easter where we're on for 5 hours. We're only going to be on 15 minutes every hour, starting at noon and going through to 4. So 5 different times, noon to noon 15.
Yeah, that, yeah.
12 to 12:15, 1 to 1:15, 2 to 2:15, 3 to 3:15, and 4 to 4:15. That's it. That's the only show. So yeah, you got to be present, tuned in, and present to say that you got it. So.
Yeah, sorry. We're just trying to make it fair for everyone, and it just seemed the best system, especially after Easter. It seemed like we had kind of a meeting and how are we going to make this better for everyone, and so that seemed like the best way. Now we got seven thumbs down. Somebody hit one, please, quick.
This makes me have a bad complex about myself.
It almost gets comical at some point. Somebody hit one, please. I want 8. Can't have 7. Can't have odd numbers. Quick, before we go, somebody slap one up there. Jeez.
God. That just makes me sad.
If you don't like it, go watch TV. Somebody put an 8 up there so we can go. Hit it, Vonna. Hit an 8.
There's 10. Now
Oh, is there
there's
10? All right.
Yay.
All right. Stop right there. 10. We're at 10. There we go. Yes.
Now we're back
Yes.
to 9. Now we're back to 9.
Oh, no. Who chickened out? Come on. No.
Oh, we're up to 12 now.
There we go. Stop.
Thank
Okay,
ya.
stop right there. Okay, we're out. We're done. Talk to you tomorrow night. Bye.
Bye. See you
Bye,
later.
Laura.